Welcome back to the channel. There's something really exciting happening right now. One of the biggest events for 2025 for motorcycle world, the EICMA Milan Motorcycle Show. I'm honestly beyond excited. Although I'm currently sitting in my garage, but I've been constantly checking on the news and the latest update, particularly in the adventure motorcycle category. In this video, I'll give you a quick rundown of some of the newest adventure bike coming to 2026, how they are positioned in the market, as well as my personal thought and how it compares with the bike I own behind me. And who knows, maybe one of these will be my next adventure machine. So if you are into adventure bike as much as I do, grab a beer, get comfortable, because what's coming next will be an interesting one. Let's start with the bike I've been mostly excited about, the BMW F450 GS. This bike was first released last year as a concept, and there were all sorts of rumors about where it would sit in the market. But finally, BMW officially announced the production model, with the full spec, pricing, and the photo video all come out together. And here is what we know so far. The 450 GS runs a 420cc inline twin-cylinder engine, producing a 48 horsepower and 43 Nm of torque. And this new engine sounds like this. The curb's weight comes in at 178 kg, seat height is 845 mm, and the fuel tank holds 14 liters, which is pretty standard. Although the suspension travel is slightly on the short, only 180 mm, and is also equipped standard with a cast aluminum wheel, 19-inch front and 17-inch rear, which is a bit disappointing. But before you ask question, yes, there is an option to choose for spoke wheel, but more of that later. The ground clearance of the bike hasn't been published yet, but given the short suspension and the smaller wheel, it's likely to be on the lower side. My guess is gonna be about 180 mm. BMW has packed in plenty of the premium feature, LED lighting, a 16-inch TFT display with connectivity, multiple riding mode, heated grip, traction control, and adjustable lever and full pack. The top spec trophy version also gets an easy ride clutch, which lets you start, stop, and shift without pulling the clutch lever. That's a nice touch, but how it works is still yet to be tested. Now about the price. Here in Australia, we have 3 variants, starting at 11,830 Australian dollar for the base model, and the top-of-line trophy model is about $830 more, mainly adding a crash protection, much better looking paint job, and an easy ride clutch. Price-wise, I think it's pretty competitive, only about 2 grand more than the ZF Moto 450 MT, but unfortunately, I think this bike has some fundamental issue that may hold it back. First, the wheels. Cast aluminum 19-17-inch are a clear compromise. This setup is suitable for touring on a gravel road at best, not a real off-road adventure machine. There is optional cross-spoke wheel set available through the BMW Motorrad accessory, but that will definitely bump up the overall cost. Then there's the off-road capability. With a shorter suspension travel and a low ground clearance, it's going to be limited in a tougher terrain. And to be honest, for my level of the skill, this wouldn't be a deal breaker at all. After all, I think most adventure riders would be like me, stay most of the time on the easy gravel, rather than hard enduro trail. And if the price is right, I can live with the less off-road capability. I think the BMW F450 GS is a fresh and refined motorcycle. The trade-off makes sense to me. It's easy to handle, has lower seat, and good enough for light gravel road. The bike is obviously aimed for the entry-level rider, not the experienced off-road rider who are downsizing. It reminds me a lot of the old BMW G310 GS, which is good around town, but not a real adventure tool. Personally, I think the trophy color looks amazing from the distance, definitely inherited the look from the bigger brother 1300 Rhino. I wouldn't mind to take a closer look for the build quality and finish, as this one will be made in India by TVS. And if it checks all the boxes, I might just trade in my 450 MT to this one. Now, moving up to the range, we got something big from CF Moto, their new 1000 MTX flagship adventure bike. At the first glance, it looks almost identical to the current 800 MTX, so I suspect it will share the same chassis. Now it has a KYB suspension with a 48mm introvert fork, fully adjustable. Similar to the 800 MTX, it should have around 230mm of travel, seat height at 870, and the ground clearance about 240. All pretty solid figure. Brakes are now Brembo's, finally give a proper stopping power, and is now factory fitted with Pirelli Scorpion STR. Still road focused, but a big step up from the old knockoffs. Weight-wise, CF Moto keep it impressive, just under 200 kg dry. While adding a 22-liter fuel tank, the curb weight should sit around 230, which is still very reasonable. Under the hood, you will get the 946cc liquid-cooled parallel twin built in a collaboration with the KTM based on the Duke 990 platform. The engine output is around 110 horsepower and 105 Nm of torque. Although there's no official price yet, but with this upgrade, I would expect it to land above 23,000 Australian dollar. Put it right up against the African Twin and the KTM 890 Adventure. Personally, I think this looks like a really strong contender in the adventure touring space. The 800 MTX was already a great value, and with this bump in power, suspension and brake, without adding the actual weight, it could really stir up the middleweight adventure market again, and I can't wait to test it out myself. Next up, the Kawasaki all-new KLE 500 announced just a few weeks before the EICMA, and since it's released, it really gets the debate going within the adventure community. Some people was pumped, others was quite disappointed. Personally, I think it's exciting to see Kawasaki revive the legendary KLE line, which is such a clean design. Although the specs are a bit underwhelming. The seat height is at 860mm, which is fairly tall. Might be challenging for a shorter rider or when fully loaded with gear. But the ground clearance is very confusing, only 175mm. The suspension travel is at 210 in the front and 200 at the rear, both from KYB. And with that combination, it probably won't handle the jump that well. On the positive side, it got a spoke wheel, 21-inch front and 17-inch rear, which reinforces its off-road focus. The power comes from the 451cc liquid-cooled parallel twin, producing around 45 horsepower. On the paper, it should even outperform the 450MT slightly. However, we don't know the exact weight yet, but I'm guessing it's probably gonna be around 200 kg. Kawasaki tend to using a solid material, so they probably will prioritize the durability over the shaving weight. The 16-liter fuel tank should providing a good touring range, and the wide aluminum handlebar, adjustable windscreen, and relaxed ergonomic looks great for longer ride. There will also be two variants, the standard model and the SE model, which the latter adds the taller screen, actual crash protection, and a larger TFT display instead of the LCD. As far as for the price, in the US it started at $6,599 MSRP. There's no Australian price yet, but based on the US price, you will probably sit between 10k in Australian dollar, sit between the CF Moto 450MT and the KTM 390 Adventure R. So what do I think of the KLE 500? Well, first of all, I think it looks great. It's versatile, capable, and perfect for daily commute or weekend gravel trips. There are some compromise on the wheel choices on the ground clearance, but for entry-level adventure bikes, they're really not the essential. Truth to be told, I've been riding my 450MT to many trails and I've yet bottomed out my factory skid plate. The KLE 500 is a nice starting bike for getting into the adventure riding. In saying that, would I swap my 450MT for the KLE 500? Probably not. In my opinion, I think that would be paying for more money for a less capable bike. Now, a quick look at what we didn't see. There's still no sign of the highly anticipated Royal Enfield Himalayan 750. They only reveal a new blackout version of the existing Himalayan 450. There's also no update on the rumored Aprilia Touareg 475 either. And for KTM, nothing new for 2026, which makes sense since the 390 Adventure just dropped and still fresh in the market. And before I give you my final thoughts, I would like to thank you for watching the video. I tried my best to keep the data accurate, but if I got any number or fact wrong, feel free to drop in a comment and correct me. Honestly, 2026 is shaping up to be a great year for the adventure rider, especially if you are new and just getting into the adventure riding. There are more options than ever. You have the existing CF Moto 450 MT, the Himalayan 450, KTM 390 Adventure, and now the BMW 450 GS and the KLE 500 are on the way. Although none of them will be the perfect bike, but there's definitely something out there that fit everyone's need and budget. For me personally, I'm just excited we will have so many bikes to test, compare, and maybe to ride in the real world next year. I seriously can't wait. Alright, let me know your thoughts. Are you excited about any of those new bikes? Would you even buy one? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and yes, it has been a while since I got myself back on a bike. I'll see you on my next adventure riding video where I kick-starting the riding season. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.